Welcome back, and we are here to do the Squared Circle Jerks podcast, reviewing New Japan Destruction in Hiroshima.
Hey.
This is... I'll gotta be up front with this. This was not a tremendous card. If you've never watched New Japan, I don't recommend this as a dive-in point, because they're just better cards. But there was some really good stuff at the end, and if you're a hard fan of New Japan, it's definitely worth a look.
Correct. It's, I would say if you really want to just watch some wrestling that's better than WWE, then go ahead, track this one down. The opening, I don't want to say, 4 matches were, they definitely built up. So this was definitely, if Ghetto's booking stuff, he definitely had an arc of excitement planned in. And if that's the case, congratulations, well done. But yeah, the opening match was Goto, Jado, and Yoshihashi Bebe versus Tenzan, Liger, and Tiger Mask. And usually these are, they're about as long as this one went. This one was 7 minutes and 20 seconds. But they're usually a big, everybody gets a pop, everybody gets their shit in, and then we go home. And this was kind of not that.
It seemed like a match in which, that Goto and Hashi seemed out of place for, because they're young enough that they should be kind of in the upper mid-card scene, to the occasional main event even. And they didn't seem very invested in this match being all that good. And
no.
Yeah, that was kind of the problem with it.
It's kind of hard to tell if Yoshihashi's ever interested in anything, but,
Yeah. And Goto too. But, normally this match is served for, kind of the old veterans of the game. For example, the Ligers, Tiger Mask, Shadow, and Tenzans of the world. Or, kind of the young up-and-comers, sometimes young lions, that kind of thing. And that usually is why I think it feels a bit better. There's a higher energy to it. There's an excitement to it.
That's why there weren't there's no young lions in the young lion match.
Yeah.
That's what's going on here.
Yeah, this is the old guys, and then Hashi and Goto going, did we offend someone to get ourselves put here?
I didn't even pick up on that until now. That's what was missing. There were no young lions.
Well, there was no young guys. Sometimes there's no young lions, but they'll throw a David Finlay in here or whatever. Guys who they're happy to be on the show. And that's a highlight for them. Whereas for Goto, it's I'm the former Nether Openweight champion. I'm the former couple other titles. Hashi's never had a title, but he's kind of always been upper mid-card. It's kind of we're on the downcline already? We're only in our 30s.
Yeah, but that's usually they got the old guys in there, but they also have some young guys who are fired up and ready to prove shit, and that was completely lacking from that match. I just didn't realize it until now. It was just not as good as it usually is. Then we had the Gooch, a division of Gooch Enterprises Limited.
Juice Robinson and Finlay!
Juice Finlay
versus Bad Luck Fale and it might have been his New Japan debut of Leo Tonga.
Might have been his debut anywhere, to be honest.
I think he's worked a couple of New Zealand promotions that Fale has connections to.
Probably true, yeah. But it was basically Leo Tonga's coming out party / learning experience, and Leo Tonga worked the majority of the match. I see a lot of potential, especially because he's 6'8" and has great timing. It's just that he doesn't have all the mannerisms. He doesn't have the ring generalship. That's stuff that will definitely come down the line. If you look back on this match in 5 years, you're going to be like, holy fuck, this guy's come a long way.
Yeah, he's surrounded, of course, via the Bullet Club and also his family, because he's Meng's kid.
Yeah.
He's surrounded by people who are going to impress upon him with that. And I think honestly, if he doesn't turn into anything, it's the only thing that could prevent it is serious injury or some kind of terrible attitude problem or something.
Yeah, that could definitely happen.
But he needs. I'd say he kind of could use a little filling out. He's a big dude as is, but I'd say 10 to 15, 20 pounds more muscle, and bam, you kind of have a proper monster that you can utilize.
Yep.
And just more time in the ring. Like, this was perfectly fine. It felt like a Young Lions match a little bit in that regard. Like, that's kind of how I'm just approaching Leo Tonga, really.
Yeah, I would say that's probably not unheard of. Not outside the realm of possibility. But it was definitely, let's put this dude in there. Kenny Omega was hurt, so he wasn't wrestling. So they just, you know what? I got a guy. Let's throw the new dude in there. Let's see what happens.
Yep. And Pulp Friction on Leo for the win. Juice Robinson gets the win, builds up him for the U.S. title shot against Kenny Omega.
Mm-hmm.
Not a match you need to go track down or anything. Maybe like in the future, if you want to like compare what Leo Tonga was to what he becomes, that could be interesting. But it absolutely served its purpose. Juice Robinson is a little hotter and gets a title shot, and Leo Tonga gets some in-ring time.
That is correct.
And Finlay gets some in-the-ring time, which is also good.
The comeuppance for the Juice Robinson Kenny Omega match was on Destruction in Kobe, which was the next card, and Omega won via probably One Winged Angel. Doesn't actually say, but it was 32 minutes and 55 seconds for that match, so it may be worth tracking down.
I can see that being really good.
Mm-hmm.
Then we had Roppongi Vice in their, not so much retirement match, because both guys are continuing, but the team's retirement match against Chase Owens and the Tokyo Pimp, Yujiro Takahashi.
Correct.
And this was pretty good. I enjoyed it. It was not to the standards of a Roppongi Vice match.
No, not at all. But it was...
But, I mean, Roppongi Vice is also a team that has feuded with the Young Bucks for a large portion of their existence, and also guys like Ricochet, Matt Sydal, even the Suzuki Gun guys, Bushi, big feud with Bushi as well.
Yeah.
And, that's going to set the bar pretty high, and it was not really going to match it facing Chase Owens and Tokyo Pimp.
No, Tokyo Pimp and Chase Owens were honestly not up to their level. It was a little disappointing as the final, quote-unquote, final Roppongi Vice match, but it was a good setup for... This whole card was about setups and new angles, really. So you had stuff like this that the match really wasn't anywhere near where it should be for a Roppongi Vice match, but... You got a pretty strong program going forward with Beretta versus Tokyo Pimp. Also, we will get to see Beretta in the ring and Tokyo Latina outside the ring. So,
yeah,
down for that.
Indeed. So in the end, they get the strong 0 for the pin on Chase Owens. After the match, Takahashi gets on the mic and basically challenges Beretta to a match. Tells him to go back down to. Go back to Rocky. Go back to junior heavyweight division because heavyweight.
I was kind of surprised. I was kind of surprised, and then also afterwards not surprised that he did it in partial English. But he's the Japanese guy in the Gaijin faction. Of course, he's going to do it in English. Of course.
Yep.
What was I thinking?
Then we had a 6-man tag match. We had Minoru Suzuki, Taka Michinoku, and Iizuka versus Michael Elgin, Togi Makabe, and Kota Ibushi.
Hey, this was another match that was just kind of not as good as it should have been, but they only gave him like 8 minutes to wrestle, so this is kind of New Japan's WWE match, where we've got a lot of guys, and we're not going to give them enough time to get all their shit in, and... Yeah.
Well, it's also that you have Iizuka and Taka in there who aren't really capable of particularly great matches anymore. Like, Iizuka's character is the crazy barbarian, and I suspect there's something medically perhaps wrong with Taka, because I've noticed they don't really like to use him in matches, it seems. And when he's in there, he doesn't really take tremendous bumps. So,
no, I mean,
I've kind of always 47? Thought that there's... Well, even beyond age, because like there are older guys, honestly, that take bigger bumps than him.
Oh,
but I mean, I think there's maybe something medically not quite right with Taka. That's possibly outside of being a sociopath.
Yeah. Notable on this match was that Mr. Suzuki very kind to Mr. Elgin during his beatdown phase.
It's like, we're going to do the beatdown, but for a change, it's going to be a work. It's going to be a work.
Suzuki is an asshole and takes liberties with everybody. In this match, he didn't even take liberties with the Young Boys. He didn't, which sounds way dirtier than I wanted to sound.
Well, I mean, there were some storyline liberties, but it didn't appear to be any real liberties.
No, yeah, but I mean, he hit a guy with a chair because it's a standard, standard chair shot to the back, nothing fancy. He didn't put a guy in the hospital with 3 concussions in one blow. And when he went, of course, he's the one that has to go after Michael Elgin. So you can see him like, okay, Mr. Elgin, sir, I've been told I need to do this, so please, don't get angry. And he's wrapping the microphone cable around Elgin's neck.
Super loose.
But it wasn't loose, but it wasn't tight, and it was just tight enough so it wasn't going to jiggle around. And then he didn't really lean on the pole so hard. And then he's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Elgin. I'm sorry, Mr. Elgin, sir. This is a nice soft towel. We'll have a nice soft hot towel for you, Mr. Elgin, sir. Here you go, here you go." And he just kind of unwound the cable and immediately grabbed, I think, somebody's banner and used that again. Not really leaning into it too much because Michael Elgin could probably crush his skull.
You will respect Mr. Elgin.
Yeah, and this I enjoyed this match not for the reasons of the match, but just watching Suzuki, you kind of do everything with kid gloves because I'm pretty sure if Elgin doesn't kill him, Makabe might.
Yeah, which this match also opens up the door for Suzuki or Makabe to end up going after his Nether Openweight title.
Yeah.
And
so, I enjoyed that.
So Kota Ibushi got the KO knee on Iizuka for the pin. Mm-hmm. There was a little bit of smudge at the end. Could have used, kind of honestly, specifically I'm going to single out Elgin as someone who the match could have used more of, but
yeah,
just in general could have used more time.
Yeah, I mean, 8 minutes for a 6-man tag, not enough time. End of story. I mean, they only gave 7 minutes and 20 seconds to the opening match, but that's the opening match with older guys. You're expecting a kind of a show.
Well, I mean, in fairness, the age of the Suzuki Gun team here is probably fairly similar.
That's probably true.
They're all north of 40.
Yeah, but there's a lot more psychology that they could do with a Suzuki Gun match.
Yeah, well, because what we were saying is, like, this is possibly the scariest 3-man unit we've ever seen, because Iizuka is a complete, like, barbarian psychopath, and Suzuki is a sadistic psychopath, and we keep calling Taka Michinoku a high-functioning sociopath.
Correct.
So, basically typical Suzuki God.
Yeah, it was. I might have to go back and watch that match again just so that I can watch Suzuki go, oh, like you can kind of see it in his face too. Like, oh, it's a little tight. I'm gonna loosen that up. Made me giggle. And then you see him go after a young boy, but he kind of hesitates. He's like, no, can't. Okay, all right. So here's what we're gonna. And then we had your boys, the Funky Future. Against your boys, the Suzuki Goons.
Taichi and Kanemaru versus Ricochet and Taguchi for Ricochet and Taguchi's IWGP Junior Heavyweight Tag Team titles.
Indeed.
Commentary at this point was joined by Rocky Romero. Prior to this, we had one-man booth Kevin Kelly.
And this is also the first match on the card that goes into double digits for time.
Mm-hmm.
So, spoiler alert, the Funky Future retain. It was a really good match.
I thought one of the highlights was actually, because I don't think of Kanemaru as really, honestly, a terrible mount, but he hit a freaking impressive leg drop on the barrier on Taguchi, just showing a little bit of life in those old limbs. You know, he's a guy who's a little bit on the advanced end of the wrestling spectrum in terms of age, and to see him crack that out is nice.
We were talking about Kanemaru as he's not the top guy, and honestly is pretty much an afterthought in that stable of complete psychotics. But he's probably the best worker, which is a weird dichotomy.
Sabre Jr.
Well, yeah, okay. I don't really view Sabre Jr. as being a full member. He just kind of is endorsed by. But yeah, you're right. But Desperado does come down to his matches all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Can we pause the recording just really briefly?
Sure. Alright, so we're back.
Indeed.
And and we were talking about Kanemaru and Suzuki Gun kind of in general a little bit, as well as this junior heavyweight tag team title match.
Indeed, very much so. And yeah, the match itself was good, enjoyable.
It was a very interesting.
Did some Funky Future type spots, and people enjoyed it.
Very interesting spot where they forced Taguchi to drink the whiskey, which was interesting.
Yeah.
They also hit him with a power bomb and a moonsault, which was a near fall, kind of surprisingly enough. Wheelbarrow codebreaker combination with the champs is pretty cool. And eventually, and I do mean eventually, because this just took a while. Taguchi forces Kanemaru to tap out to his ankle lock with an assist from Ricochet, who nailed a couple of dives on Tai Chi to keep him out of the ring, and also even hit a little bit of a splash on Kanemaru while he was still in the hold. Tai Chi didn't bring his chick out, which was not cool. Not cool. The best part of Tai Chi's gimmick is the girl.
Yeah, that and taking his pants off.
Yeah. At this point, Rocky Romero jumps up and grabs the microphone and challenges the Funky Future for their belts against Roppongi 3K, which is his new... I'm kind of led to the belief that he'll be like the manager of two different people, and the rumor is it'll be the Tempura Boys. I'm disappointed by that. Not because I don't like the Tempura Boys, because I do. I think that those two guys actually have a ton of future ability. Like, the upside on them is great. And I wouldn't even have a problem with them being like the new Roppongi Vice and being managed. But Rocky hyped this up so much that if it ends up being the Tempura Boys, it's going to fall flat. So
yeah, it's Roppongi 3K because they're going to be 3,000 times better than Roppongi Vice, which means they're going to be the best tag team anyone's ever even thought about hearing about.
Yeah, so I'm afraid that this is... I was excited when this angle was done, but when I really started thinking about who it could be, I just feel it's going to end up being flat.
Yeah, I'm hoping it's not the Tempura Boys again. Agreeing with you, it's not that I don't like them. It's just that they're not. That's not Roppongi 3K. That's not it. You need to go a little bit further down. You need to dig deeper.
Mm-hmm. Then we had triple threat match, IWGP Heavyweight Tag Team titles, the Killer Elite Squad versus the Guerrillas of Destiny versus reigning champions War Machine.
Indeed.
This match started up pretty awesome, frankly, because there's a spot where the Guerrillas of Destiny are trying to pull out. It was Archer and I think Hansen, or was it Rowe?
Probably.
Anyways, they're trying to pull him out of the ring, and Archer's just pulling Tama Tonga into the ring and being like, "You fucked up, kid." And that was good. It was hilarious.
I enjoyed the Hansen throwing the handspring back elbow. Marked out for that. It's like the ghost of Tadgers lives, even though Tadgers is still alive. Mm-hmm. And I want them to now call it the Hansen back elbow.
Indeed. The ref gets ref of the year here. Marty Asami actually... The rules were followed!
Indeed, Marty Asami on top of things.
Because the Guerrillas of Destiny hit Guerrilla Warfare and tried to go for a pin, but they were not the legal team. They could not win.
Yep.
So, it sets up some storylines for continuing the Guerrillas of Destiny going after the tag titles, and at the same time, the rules were obeyed. I was so happy.
Yeah, the only other bit of commentary is a really good match. Totally go see this match. The last half of this card is really good, but Tonga Lola's new ring gear is atrocious.
It's bad.
Dear Lord. I don't do the fashionista thing very often, but whoever dressed that boy, do not let him back out of the house.
Oh my god. That was pretty bad.
Yeah.
War Machine retains when they hit Fallout on D.H. Smith.
No, except for Fallout.
I mean, just for those not familiar with these teams, you need to realize something here, that this is a 3-team tag match where Tom Matonga, who's about 220, 230, is the smallest guy in the match.
Yeah.
By a considerable amount.
I also enjoyed the Lance Archer literally spitting water on everybody, and not only that, but actively just running through the crowd spitting water on everybody.
Yeah. Lance Archer, just to sidetrack briefly here, He's a guy that WWE gave up on, and I never really could understand why. Because, I mean, we talk about this with, like, Cage and Marty the Moth as well and stuff like that. But, like, I can kind of get it. Marty the Moth was really green. Cage was apparently a lot smaller. You know, there's always kind of this, all right, this guy turned into something good. But, like, Archer came from TNA, where he was Lance Hoyt / Lance Rock. And was, like, pretty much a made product. Big guy, good looking, reasonably young. Actually, kind of reminds me of Andrew Tess Martin, to be honest, a little bit. And I don't know what the hell happened with him in WWE.
I have no idea.
I know he was on ECW for a bit, and they booked him really terribly, and and then they cut him. As if to say, I'm sorry, we gave you absolute shit, and you couldn't make gold out of it. You're just not worth our time.
Pretty much.
So, one of the weirder ones, because like he ticks all of the Vince McMahon boxes in terms of what you want in a wrestler.
Indeed. We had Los Ingobernables de Japón
10-man tag.
Your Chaos
Versus Okada, Gedo,
or as they pronounce it on
Ospreay, and Ishii.
As they pronounce it on the Emperor's podcast as Coas.
Coas.
My only problem with this match is not enough Yano, not enough nutshots. Actually, not enough Ospreay either.
Not enough of anyone really. This is the problem. The problem with the 10-man tag is it's not really enough of anyone. Like what there was of Ospreay working with primarily Hiromu Takahashi, but a little bit with Bushi as well, was really good. Yeah. Really good.
Everybody who worked with anybody in this match, it was all, this is a really good match. But they only got little over 12 minutes to do a 10-man match, and that's just not gonna work.
Yeah, it's not good enough. And also, to be honest, I think the main worker for Chaos might have been Gedo, which is no disrespect to Gedo. Fantastic booker. Great guy in the business. But at this point, on that team, that's not who I want to see working.
No, not at all. But, I can't remember anything I needed to really point to in the match. After the match, they all beat the absolute dog shit out of Okada. Darkness falls from Evil on Okada on a stack of chairs, and then Evil stands on him, doing the big fucking I am. Enjoyable.
I did kind of really like the finish to this match, where Bushi pins Gedo after the MX, but Evil is simultaneously pinning Okada after his STO. So it's like you get the visual pinfall on Okada without him being like actually pinned, and it sets things up nicely for their title match.
Indeed.
So good ending, but just don't do a 10-man tag match with 12 minutes. Like I think that's really just a lesson. Yeah,
this needed at least 15, and they didn't have it. So the weird thing is that they had who was it? They had Tanahashi do like 20 minutes of fucking promo work after like the whole card was over.
Yeah, so there was more time, and I would have put some here, and I would have honestly put some more on the Suzuki Gun versus Elgin and Co. Match as well, and you probably get better matches out of that.
I would say.
And then we had Desperado with his new mask versus Kushida for the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Title. We haven't brought this up, so I'm going to bring this up. This was like the big one with Suzuki Gun getting all their title shots. They were going after both the tag titles, the Intercontinental and the Junior, and at this point, both their tag teams, the Killer Elite Squad and Kanemaru and Taichi, had failed. So at this point, like, there should be a little bit of panic in the Suzuki Gun stable, and it kind of showed really in the Zack Sabre Jr. match, which was nice.
Yeah, pretty much. This was an interesting night of, and you pointed out before we even started watching any of the matches, like, dude, this has to be like a Suzuki Gun coming out party of we're fucking back, bitches, and spoiler alert, they ain't win shit.
Yeah, they won nothing, actually. I was going to say they won the multi-man match, but they didn't.
They did not.
So they literally won nothing.
Yeah.
But yeah, this was really good. The dive from Desperado over the announce tables and landing on his feet to take out Kushida, freaking awesome.
Yeah.
They work Desperado's guitar in there, but the referee takes it away, but he takes the leash that he uses for Iizuka, starts whipping Kushida with it. Yeah. Good stuff there. A lot of interesting just hoverboard lock and stretch muffler spots, which were kind of interesting, including one that was like, the best way I can explain this is it was almost like a stretch muffler with a pendulum hold element to it. It was
like a
really weird
stretch muffler to puss lock.
It was fantastic.
Enjoyable.
We even had Desperado do a fake mask spot, which was pretty cool.
That was good.
He took his own mask off, threw it at Kushida, which is a foul for removing the opponent's mask.
Very, brain wants to come up with a name not coming. Eddie Guerrero-esque.
Yeah, Eddie Guerrero-esque with a mask as opposed to a folding chair.
Went for the fake guitar and then went for the fake mask.
Mm-hmm. We eventually end up with like a long hoverboard lock spot, which was hit off of an interesting kind of like tightrope walk slam, which was kind of cool. Very interesting. And Desperado almost escapes, but Kushida eventually says, "Okay, Back to the Future." Hits Back to the Future and ends it, and puts the ending on the match. And he's your champion still. And then things got interesting because Will Ospreay came out to challenge Kushida. And I'm gonna be honest, part of this promo was not very good. Because Ospreay's talking about all the times Kushida's beaten him, and I'm like, you're not making me want to see this.
It could have I don't think I've ever heard Ospreay talk before, so it was kind of, well, he came out, he got a Cockney accent, hello, Peaky Blinders. I'm like, dude, really? And I understand where he was going with this, and I support that logic, but...
Well, he
didn't really sell me on wanting to see you actually have this match.
That's kind of my thing, is like, he's selling me real well on why he wants the match.
Yeah.
But you don't have to do that. It's a title match.
Yeah. Why should I care?
You need to sell me on why I want to see the match. And don't get me wrong, I do, because Ospreay versus Kushida. I mean, it's gonna be a fantastic match.
Yeah.
But from a storyline standpoint, we're seeing a guy who keeps losing to another guy get a title shot.
Yeah. So, I mean, I totally want to see the match. These guys are fucking awesome. But you didn't have the passion in the right spot. That's about it.
And ticking time bomb, Hiromu Takahashi comes out and
gets fucking
Ospreay just levels him.
He got fucking knackered.
So that's what I have written here. He makes a rather poor argument for why I should want to see this match, but then he knocks out Takahashi, and suddenly I'm interested.
Exactly.
So Takahashi taking a punch saved this whole promo.
Yep. Then he woke up later, was pissed.
Yeah. Then we move on to the main event of the evening. There was no Daryl tonight, also, which.
No, they put him over earlier. They said Daryl was in England doing promos.
Mm-hmm. So we get to Zack Sabre Jr. versus Hiromu Tanahashi. Or not Hiromu. Tanahashi. The ace.
Regular Tanahashi.
Yeah, the regular one. This is... I'm of two minds with this match. On one hand, it was fantastic. Yes. It was a great display of chain wrestling and submission wrestling mat work.
I would say that it was a technical masterpiece from start to finish. Mm-hmm. Whether or not you were like the first half of the match, not that exciting. But it fed perfectly into the last half of the match, including all of the shenanigans that played out later.
Any wrestling fan will love the second half of this match. The first half is going to be dependent on whether you like a very mat-based style. So if you're already a fan of Zack Sabre Jr., like, you'll be into it. But if you're one of the people who's like, I don't really see what's so special about Zack Sabre Jr., the first half of this match probably will not convince you.
No.
The second half may.
It may be one of these matches that, I haven't seen it twice, but it may be one of those ones, if you go back and watch it again, it may be something very special that you pick up a lot of stuff.
Mm-hmm. But I was enthused with it. I understand there are going to be probably some people who would not be. So it's definitely... It's not a right, we're here to finish this up finally, this 3-part podcast, because Byron had company.
Not my fault. I'm very popular.
He's very popular. So
drive for miles around to see me.
So basically, we're just going to cover from the Suzuki interference onwards and finish this up probably like 5 minutes. So,
Indeed.
So Minoru Suzuki comes down. He interferes. He chokes Tanahashi pretty fucking close to unconscious, if not unconscious. And Sabre goes for the pin after hitting the PK. But Tanahashi kicks out somehow. Mike Elgin, Big Mike, comes down to deal with Minoru Suzuki. And a little bit of Taka Michinoku as well.
Yeah.
So this is furthering on the idea that Elgin, I suppose, is going to go after Suzuki's belt.
That would be my understanding as well.
Although they hinted that Makabe may also go after Suzuki's belt. So, three-way dance. That's a three-way dance I can get behind.
Yeah, you betcha. That's a lot of violence.
Yeah, so...
Guido has a small space in his heart for that one.
Indeed. So yeah, Elgin basically chases Suzuki to the back. We were joking. Oh, but yes, Mr. Elgin, I'm going to give you right out of here right away. So Tanahashi, they continue on for like a little bit, and then he hits a triple neck screw, they called it. It's a crossroads.
Crossroads!
Then he hits a sling blade and a final high fly flow to put Zack Sabre Jr. away in probably the match of the night. It's either this or the three-way tag team match, in my opinion.
I would agree with that one. The Kushida Desperado match was pretty darn good, but it wasn't
put that third.
On main event. Yeah, it wasn't on main event level. And yeah, no, I would agree with that assessment.
Uh-huh. So Tanahashi gets on the mic at the end. By the way, Sabre Jr. is selling that he's completely devastated by this loss on his way out. That was also pretty good. And Ace calls out Kota Ibushi because Kota beat him in the G1, same way that Zack Sabre Jr. got the title shot, and basically says you're next. Next, I think they have that match on the King of Pro Wrestling card.
Yeah, I believe so. I'm trying to find a. Let's see. I'll keep talking. I'll try and find the card for that. Although they don't have a chronology update here on Wikipedia. You bastards!
Yeah. But I think I saw that on the either that or they had it at Destruction in Kobe.
No, it wasn't on the Destruction in Kobe. Can confirm that did not take place.
Okay, so yeah, presumably we're getting that at the King of Wrestling card, and then Ace does a prolonged Eric Kadar celebration, which was the crowd was hot for, so it works. Kawato got involved in it like a little bit as a roadie, getting the guitar out. And
just throwing the air guitar back and forth.
Yep. So good work there. Like I said, not the best New Japan card I've ever seen. Not the worst either. I have seen worse. But the second half of the card was very, very good.
Yes.
It just got off to a bit of a rough start. And we're going to some good places. Next feuds are set up. Like we said, Suzuki, Elgin, Makabe maybe for the Never Openweight title. You'll get Kota Ibushi and Tanahashi. Not in a feud because they're both faces, but that's the next place the Intercontinental title goes. You've got Juice Robinson facing off against Kenny Omega for the U.S. title. You've got Ospreay and Kushida with possibly Time Bomb involved in that as well. You've got Roppongi 3K coming in, and spoiler, KES won in a second triple threat tag team match to become IWGP Heavyweight Champions.
Correct.
Tag champions, I should say.
All right, I can give you the King of Pro Wrestling lineup for October 9th, 2017, Monday. Technically Sunday for us, possibly. Mm-hmm. We have a 20-minute time limit trios match between Leo Tonga, Takahashi, and Bad Luck Fale, and Takahashi, Bushi, and Sanada. Tag team match between Suzuki and Sabre Jr. versus your boy Toru Yano, or my boy Toru Yano, and your boy Goto.
Oh, I like that.
Then we have a 60-minute time limit IWGP Junior Heavyweight Tag Team match. Taguchi Japan versus Challenger Team Unknown.
That would be Roppongi 3K versus The Funky Future.
60 minutes time limit match for the IWGP Tag Team 3-way elimination match.
Oh, I like that.
You got your boys Hanson and Rowe. You got your boys Lance Archer and David Boy Smith Jr. the Third Esquire, and of course the Guerrillas of Destiny.
So that'll be fantastic.
The fifth match of the evening will be a trios match of Jado, Beretta, Yoshihashi versus Skrull, Cody, and Omega. Your sixth match of the evening will be Makabe and Tanahashi versus The Juice and Ibushi. And your seventh match of the evening, a 16-minute time limit match, will be the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Title, Kushida versus William Ospreay Esquire.
William Ospreay, the great Will Ospreay.
Your co-main event of the evening shall feature, for a 60-minute time limit, the right to challenge for the IWGP Heavyweight Title at Tokyo Dome, your boy Tomohiro Ishii and your boy Tetsuya, I don't give a fuck about anything, Naito.
I'm this close to giving a fuck.
Your boy, main event of the evening, ninth match on the card, 60-minute time limit for the IWGP Heavyweight Title of the World, Kazuchika Okada versus the King of Darkness, Evil.
Everything is evil.
Correct.
So new champions out of that. You think any belts will change hands?
I wouldn't think that the heavyweight will change hands. At this point, I think it might actually be the best idea to put the rights on Ishii, because Naito obviously doesn't need the push. He's hotter than a firecracker right now. He might be the hottest guy in the entire company.
Sets up a bit of a weird chaos on chaos dynamic.
I wouldn't think that they'll give Ospreay the title, but I could be very wrong. They may want to try and keep him around and give him an incentive to stay, so that could be a thing. And again, it's not like Kushida needs the title. The tag titles might change hands just because you just never know about those kind of things. They
just put them on Killer Elite, though. You would think that they would get at least one successful defense.
That is true. And I have no idea who Roppongi 3K actually is going to be, so I'm not even going to try and like, if they want to shock the world and push somebody to the moon, and or if Ricochet is leaving for WWE, then they may change the junior tag titles.
I could see it changing over. Again, the theory being Tempora Boys.
I mean, if it works out, great. If it doesn't work out, I'm not going to be shocked.
My thing is, if it's the Tempora Boys, and I like the Tempora Boys, I want to make this very clear. I think that's a tag team with enormous potential, future champions. Could even put the belts on them now. It's just the way that this has been built up. Man, I don't know if Roppongi 3K can live up to that Rocky Romero promo.
No.
Don't.
And not if that was the promo and that's the team, then that's not good enough. Again, prove me wrong. I'm happy with being proved wrong.
So that's all we got on New Japan for now. We'll be back probably tomorrow because you got your family coming as company. We'll instead of watching Raw, we'll watch Lucha Underground and review that.
And then the next morning you wake up and just watch Wrestle Talk News, and you get, should I watch this? Probably not.
I'll skim through Raw while I'm doing other things.
Because maybe you like it raw.
I do like it raw.
How's your fantasy football team going on? Good?
Well, yours, I think mine has successfully won because I've got, hang on, let me pull up here. I've got Jimmy Graham, Chris Carson, and Adam Vinatieri yet to play, and I'm ahead 111.6 to 97.1. And the only thing he has left is the Seahawks defense. So, I mean, if the Seahawks defense scores 10 points, that's a good night for them, and that wouldn't be enough.
Yeah.
And that's if I score 0 with the 3 guys I have yet to play.
And I'm 60 points up on Galvin, and he's still got 4 guys to play, though, and one of those guys is Frank Gore, so, I mean, could be a thing.
That's still questionable. He could still stage the comeback.
Yeah.
Galvin is the only person I lost to so far this season, so avenge me!
I'm going to try my best. This time I'm actually fielding a whole team.
Indeed. So that's our Final Fantasy, or that's our Final Fantasy football fantasy update. So cheer us on as we crush a bunch of guys, I presume, from Texas. And one guy from Florida.
Probably is. Hopes and dreams. Whoop.
Indeed. So that is all. Get off Byron's lawn and tune back in for Lucha Underground.
See ya.